Hi, everyone. Welcome to MomCom. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Shannon.
Today, we are talking about something so many moms feel but do not always say out loud: the ache for a deeper friendship.
So our guest, Heather J. Carlson, is a licensed marriage and family therapist, community builder, and creator of The Invitation. After years of hearing women share how lonely and disconnected they feel, she designed this year-long experience to help women build intentional, meaningful connection.
So, Heather, we are so excited to have you here all the way from Boulder, Colorado. We're just so grateful. And we just did an episode on how our cups are empty and how do we fill our cup. And I think that you've created this program that is going to fill up our cups. So I'd love to hear more.
We're so excited for our MomCom Village to just hear your message and how it came to be so organically. You know, we shared your credentials, but you're also a mom. You're a woman who has had long friendships, smaller friendships, and the way you have created The Invitation is so organic, so thoughtful. And it, you know, when we were with you last night, there were so many moments where my head was just nodding and Nicole's head nodding and everybody in the room. So I'd love if you could just take all of us, big step back into how this came to be and how you created such a beautiful thing.
Well, thank you. And it was so fun to be with you in that space last night and just feel sort of that connection across. You two were sitting across from each other. So it was fun to feel. I could feel that sort of little invisible tie that's between the two of you as we were sitting in circle together.
Thank you.
And you're right, Shannon, this was really organic. And it came first and foremost from my personal life. And it was post-pandemic, so like 2021-ish. And I was going through a lot of transition. The whole world had been through transition, as we all know.
Right. Yes.
Nothing was the same, or, very little felt the same. We were like in a whole new iteration of being after the pandemic. So that was happening for all of us. And personally, I was actually starting my own private practice in Boulder.
Wow.
And so, going back into that scheduled routine. I had been a primary parent and stay-at-home parent for 15 years, which is quite a long time.
That is.
So working inside the home, as I like to say, instead of working outside the home.
It's nicely put.
Yes.
A lot of work.
Right. Yes. Chasing around 3 children. I was also the primary caregiver for my father.
Wow.
So, a lot of spinning plates, but just different plates. And so suddenly I was then managing a practice where also as a clinician, you are unavailable. Your phone is turned off, and for many, many hours of the day, you are completely unavailable. That means you can't order something from Amazon between. It was a really different structure for me. So that transition was happening personally. I also had a friendship end, a very, very important friendship end during the pandemic, and it had been sort of a slow relationship to fade. And I think neither one of us wanted it. We were so important to each other for almost 20 years. And so the thought of that ending, I think for both of us, we hung on longer than we ought to have.
Right.
But it did end. And so suddenly I had more time because that was my closest friend.
Yeah.
I had more time, but also I had started to realize going back to work, especially that, I had some really beautiful friendships in my life, but they were siloed. I had like a colleague from work who I adored and we hung out, and then a friend that I had met on the playground when my kids were at school, right? And then, like a neighbor. So I had these different friendships, and I found myself just all of a sudden, I was like, I am so tired of managing this. Like I am constantly having to coordinate with you. And that means we all know how this goes. It's like 15 text messages to plan a coffee date.
Yes. Right? A lot.
Which is why then you just kind of give up sometimes too, right? Because it becomes so much work. So it's like,
yeah. And it's that asynchronous planning often. And just so there's the delay. So I text you and then you get busy and you text me the next day. And oh my gosh. And suddenly I just felt so tired of that. And I woke up one morning and I thought, this has to be different.
Wow.
I know I need something different.
So you did you have an idea of how to go about it? Did it just pop it? The idea that you have is so special.
Right.
And you've put so much thought into it. But how did it start? How was the spark? What happened?
I just woke up one morning.
That's
I think my
amazing.
muse visited me. I'm a writer. I always say I'm a very bad poet, but I think a muse visited me. And also I'm a relationship expert, right?
Right.
That's what I do for a living is I help
Right.
people, increase the quality of their relationships.
Yeah.
And so I think there was some, natural kind of flow in the idea, but I woke up and I thought, I need a group. I need to be able to send one text message and say who is available. And because I appreciate everyone in the group, I don't really care which one of you shows up. And that's not always going to be true. Sometimes you need the gift that a particular friend brings into your life and you want to hang out with them. But sometimes you're like, I just need to get out of my house.
Right.
And who can go for a walk?
Right.
Or who, I got to go try on jeans. Who's going to come with me to
It's so true. Who's going
help me buy jeans? Right. So I just wanted it to, honestly, it needed to be easier.
That is such a key word, right? That was a key point.
Yeah.
Easy, because friendships we all need them and they're so important for our soul, right? But when they become so difficult and exhausting and you're tired,
Right.
that's when you either turn off and just go inward,
Right.
or like you said, I just need easy friendships. And I think what you have created allows for that in a bit of a different way. You kind of have to shift your thinking about it a little bit. But let's talk about, I think if we talk about what the invitation is, and then I'd love to go into, but being that you're a writer and a researcher, like just kind of some of the actual facts that have grounded this, but yes, it was an idea that you woke up with, but then being the brilliant person you are, everything that you are sharing is based in some sort of fact, statistic, research. So let's just share a little bit about what the invitation is.
Yes. So it is based off of, I guess to go back a bit before I go forward, the idea was not for the invitation. The idea was actually for me to start a group in my personal life. So I didn't actually have the idea for the invitation until later. And it was that initial idea was I need a group of women. So that's where I invited two women that I already had in my circle that were pretty close friendships. And then two women who were not. They were more acquaintances. I jokingly call one of them and Lizzie. Shout out to Lizzie. She's my driveway friend.
I love that so much.
And she was, we all have those women in our life. It's like, I adore you. Like, why are we not hanging out? But I had literally been dropping my kid off at her kid's house for 7 years. 7, 8, 6, a long time.
Yeah.
And had not been in her home. We had never been out together. And I was like, I really appreciate her. So I had another friend like that too, where I knew them. They weren't like strangers. They were definitely in the acquaintance category. So I invited the two women that I knew and the two women that I didn't. And I emailed them and simply said, I would like to try something for a year. Can we meet and commit to one another every day, every month, meet for a year? And also, while you're considering this year-long request that I have out of the blue, can you also each bring one new person into this? And so the 4 said yes. So that means we were a core group of 5.
Okay.
And then each of us, including me, invited someone. I had met a woman at a barbecue. And instantly I was like, girl crush land. We were like, oh, I really like you. Like, I have got to spend more time with you. And I had seen her. I had a party that I invited her to, but it was like in the fall, and then I invited her that Christmas. And so I had seen her twice. But I just, in my heart, I knew. I just knew. And so I invited her.
Wow.
And so we all took a chance on one another. And so women showed up that very first gathering at my doorstep. And 5 of them, I knew the woman I had invited, but the other 4 were, we shook hands at my door.
So cool.
I was like, welcome to my home. Like, and then we all sat down and I was like, this is why I'm doing this. And I told them about myself. And I had a little activity for us to do together. And we shared a meal because there's a lot of research about sharing meals actually is one of those primal things that bonds us. And that was the start of this sort of petri dish just in my personal life. This had nothing to do with my professional life. This was just something I needed as a human, not as a psychotherapist, right? And that was when the idea hit me, because we got to the end of that year and I was like, well, are we done here? And there was a huge protest. They're like, what are you even talking about? no, this is never going to end. And so I was like, wait a second, you guys, we have got to figure out, like, how do we, and we brainstormed together, like, how can we share this with more women? But we decided we couldn't. And I knew that, I also specialize in group work and have extensive training in group therapy. And I knew that we couldn't have a bigger group and maintain the intimacy. And so I was like, I don't think we can. I think it's just going to have to be us.
Yeah.
But that was when I was like, I woke up one morning and thought, hold on, there has to be a way to take this and make it a thing that you can offer other women, like a recipe that they can follow. So that was when the spark for the invitation hit.
So I love this so much in so many different ways. So you met once a month at a different person's house.
Yes.
Was it always like in an intimate setting at someone's house once a month for a year? And then I love when you shared what you had planned for the end of the year. That is like my favorite part. I want to go on that trip.
I mean, just you talking about it, like images of being, I live in Colorado and up in we call it the big mountains because I'm in the foothills. We went up into ski country and I didn't tell this last night, but we stayed in yurts, off-grid yurts.
I love
So it's a
that.
digital detox weekend. The yurts are heated by, fire burning stoves that you have to keep going all night. So not only was it an intimate getaway, but we were off grid with each other. And, the phones don't work.
Yeah.
And you were grounding with nature.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it was
Which
freezing.
is
Yeah. We were cross country skiing and snowshoeing and we all took turns, we had collaborated, of course, on who, the food and all pitched in. But so my vision was when I started the group, I was like, well, if we're doing this for a year, we need a closing. I think this is one of the things that we don't do well in modern society is we don't have really ritualized beginnings, middles, and ends. And I wanted us to I thought it was going to end. I had no idea. I mean, I was just trying something, right? And so I was like, we need a way to end this. And I wanted us to have time to reflect on it. That I was sure of. And I thought, well, let's go out with a bang. So I put this on my credit card. Just 3 years for the weekend. My husband's like, what are all the thousands of dollars on our credit card? What are you doing? I was like, I think they'll pay me back. I was like, I looked at the cancellation policy before I put it on our credit card. And you have to book this place a year ahead.
Yeah.
So I was like, forget it. I'm just going to book it a year ahead. So when the women came to my house that first January night, I was like, so a year from this weekend, I booked us a getaway. And we all went. Because when you put something on your calendar a year ahead of time.
Yes.
What did they say? Like if I show up to something new with 9 other women and someone's like, so guess what? We're going on a trip together.
Yeah. And we don't know each other.
And you don't know each other. And you're like, oh.
And there's an outdoor bathroom.
Oh my goodness.
And we're all like in rooms with no walls.
But some of the women had to have had whether it was an external reaction or not. Maybe they were thinking, "Oh my gosh!"
I need to ask this question. I would love. This would be such a great next time we get together. What did you guys think when I also threw that out there?
Yes.
Can you please?
Yeah,
because
I'll get back to you.
Okay, please do because I'm sure I would have to guess some of them maybe outwardly were like, yeah, but internally like, what the hell?
Everybody paid me their money. I got my credit card paid off.
That's amazing.
And I love that you had an idea, you went with it, you set the intention, and it happens.
The worst thing they can say is no, right?
Right.
I know. I'm saying that in jest. I mean, I know that rejection can feel really hard. And so, but here's the problem with that. Because rejection is so scary and so painful, we still have a no. So rejection is you get a no, right? But we, in essence, always have a no if we're not asking.
Yes.
So
yes. And I feel like this is what you've just said is so important beyond even just what we're talking about right now with female friendship, right? In general in life, like what's the worst that can happen if someone says, yeah, I think that's actually very, very powerful. Right. Something that is a bit of a guiding principle, if you will, that I'm certainly going to take away from this conversation. So I know there's so much. I just want you to share all of your knowledge and everything that you have to offer. Help us understand why we're in this place. Why is why is this so difficult? Why now in 2026, it has been, and like you said, I mean, COVID definitely, pandemic really changed things for us. But what is it? Why is it that so many women, when you're talking about the subject, women from all different backgrounds are nodding their heads going, yeah, why does this feel so hard?
Right. Right. And I love this topic. And that's part of the reason why I've been offering these free community-based gatherings, because this is it is part of my give back to offer these gatherings at no cost and to make them accessible, because that topic is not being discussed enough. There's a lot of like, build your village. If you want a village, be a villager. And I'm like, can we talk? Okay, yes, that's all true. But can we also talk about how come we have to rebuild village right now?
Right.
And when I started digging into the research, and I'm an attachment therapist. I'm like swimming every day of my life in relationship, right? Relationship theory, how we change relationships, how relationships get blocked. And so even with all of that training I was learning new things. And I was like, okay, if I'm in this profession and I'm learning new things, then that means a lot of us probably don't know about this. And so what I started, the thing that was the most powerful to me that I think is not a message that's being relayed in other sort of venues is that we have a fractured social landscape. And that is the thing that I want every woman to hear me say. And I'm going to say it again.
Oh, yes.
We have a fractured social landscape. And I was thinking about this morning, thinking about coming in and spending this time with the two of you. And I was like, this is something that humans have never experienced before. That is profound.
Yeah.
We are living in a very different way than we were built and made to live. And so that is not your fault.
Right.
And
we are not crazy.
No.
We are not. We feel crazy.
Right.
And alone.
Every episode.
Crazy and alone. We talk about it every time. And we're not, it's the research.
We're up against this huge barrier. And I really want to depersonalize this experience. This fractured social landscape has an impact on us. And that's what we're feeling. And then we say, oh, it's me.
Right.
But really, I want you to externalize that and say, oh, this is hard because of this. And so this is that in pre-modern society, which is sort of a very, very long time frame. It's like all the way beginning human development, people living on the land, cave people kind of, right? Like early humans, all the way up through, and this is a very specific date, 1964 is sort of considered in the social research to be the year that the social fracturing began. So isn't that fascinating? We can actually kind of, some scientists actually say it's this year. Other scientists are sort of framing it more broadly, the 60s and 70s, which of course coincides with the women's movement and women going back to work. And that's sort of a whole nother conversation. But we can I'll just say one thing about that, which is women are the keepers of relationships. In our male-female world, primarily male-female world, women are the gatekeepers of emotional relationship. And so when women went back into the workplace outside of the home, they now had an additional thing to carry. And we know there are only so many hours in the day. Right. So we can sort of track, that's part of the reason. There are other things, obviously, but that's one of them. So in pre-modern societies, we didn't go back even further in time, right? We didn't get to choose the church we went to or the synagogue we attended. We didn't necessarily get to choose who we married even, right? You didn't cross social economic boundaries. Interracial marriages, right, were not a thing that was happening. So there were a lot less freedoms. I always say oppression, especially for women and minority groups. But less freedom in so many ways. However, you stayed in your same community. So that meant, especially women didn't work outside of the home. So you would see them at your place of worship. And then you would see them at the community bazaar where you were all volunteering. And then you might see them because your children went to the same school. And so what happens is the community becomes the glue that supports the relationships. And each individual didn't have to do so much because you would see each other. You knew why you were there. We're here to worship. We're here to support the community for this volunteer cause, right? We knew why we were there. And so the context becomes the bond, right? Because the glue is sort of being held by the community, not by the individual. So fast forward to modern times, and we have lost so many of those community spaces. We move around. We leave our hometowns, right? and we have to start over again and again. We work an hour away from where we are raising our families.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you have this fracturing, and that means that the impact is on the individual. The impact is on the individual. It creates a burden. And then we talked about scheduling. You know, it's like I have to text this person, and it takes us a week to get a coffee date because you're busy and I'm busy.
Right.
And we don't see each other.
And that's what's happened to me because I was the spark.
Right.
And I can't wait for you to talk about the spark in a different way, which makes so much sense. But I have always been a planner. And I, in Chicago, where I lived, my husband wanted to move us out of the city because we had 2 little kids. And we moved to the suburbs where I didn't know anybody. And he had a high school friend who had his wife introduced me to this group of women. And I had literally just had a baby and I was exhausted. But all I knew was I got invited to go to this dinner and I was going to go no matter what, exhausted or not. And I did. And at that dinner, we would plan the next. And we would all show up the next month. And it consistently went that way for about 4 years until I moved. And after I moved, those things weren't happening. And then I tried to recreate that here. And I just haven't been able to.
Right.
And so I'm not really someone that gives up. But I've given up.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I only have the energy now to put into my children who are with me for the next 8 to 9 years and my family. And so when you try and try and try and it's not being received, it's like, I'm going to put into the people that give something back to me, which has just been my family lately. But I feel so lonely. Like I have good friends here, but it just sometimes feels impossible to coordinate with everybody and all the different travel sports. And, I feel like we have to be really intentional, which is what I love about this. It's the intention and it's the commitment. And I just feel like it's so important because it will fill up your cup if you just set the time and commit to it no matter what.
Right. Well, and so many of us make commitments for other things, right? I mean, think about your child signing up for a music lesson or a swim lesson or whatever. Do you miss those? Not really.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
We are able to follow up with those kinds of commitments. But what we're not talking about is that for women who carry so much, the caretaking role, especially, for all women, and if you're a mother, you get a double dose because you have these additional humans that you're responsible for, is that they always come first. And women come last. And so in this fractured social landscape where it's already challenging for reasons that don't have anything to do with you, right? Now you have this additional thing where you are juggling so many people that you have to care for. And we put ourselves at the end of the list.
Right.
And so then you get friends who flake out and friends who cancel all the time. Like that is something that is happening now. And that was not a thing, I'll be 50 this year. And when I was in my 20s, that was not happening.
Right.
We made plans. Nobody canceled. When I think back to that time in my life, even my 30s, and I'm not that much older than you two. And that was not a thing that was happening. That is a contemporary thing that has also changed in social dynamics. So, but I think that's also a symptom of overwhelm.
Yes.
And also how easy it is to not show up. Because in my time, that was sort of like smartphones. I got my first cell phone in there's a 19 in there, okay?
I got mine, it was a 20. I didn't get mine until college, 2002. I went without a cell phone. And guess what? It was
right. But you made your plan like a week ahead.
Yes.
And then you just all showed up at the time that you talked about. There was no last minute canceling. Right.
Yes.
So, I think, Nicole, this is such a complex issue, the lack of commitment. I have a lot of thoughts and ideas on that piece, that's lack of commitment. But that's part of why I created the program. Because we need something that holds us accountable in a way that the swim lesson does. that the soccer practice does, these other things in our life that the committee meeting does, right? You don't not show up to the committee meeting.
Right.
But somehow we end up saying, well, that friendship, that's for me. And I can be put on the back burner. But then, of course, it impacts our friend.
Right.
Because we're canceling on her. But I think it's actually something deeper that's happening. It's really, it's not okay for me to prioritize myself. I've given so much to everyone else and now my cup is empty.
I mean, you are absolutely speaking. I feel like you're speaking directly to my situation, your situation, everybody else, because that is it. We put ourselves last and we will continue to.
Right.
So I love how you're saying make the commitment to yourself.
Yes.
And I think I would guess in finding other women who might want to be part of the invitation is also them having that aha moment to say, I'm going to say yes to me because I say yes for everybody all the time. And like you said, I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time I got my nails done or did little silly things that just made me feel more human because it's like, there's no time because we have to run to this and run to that. And it's not a complaint. We do it and we continue to do it until you realize, oh my gosh, my cup is so empty. So this concept is so brilliant and so well thought out because what you shared as well, you said you do these community events. So just background context, we met you last night because we attended a community event that Renee from Subtle and Sass put on with Heather. And it was just, again, it was just incredible and so eye-opening. And I think it's important to make sure we're sharing. It's okay to put yourself first. And it's okay to maybe feel a little bit uncomfortable at first, right?
Heck yeah.
But
that's how you know you're doing something new.
Yes.
Right? If you feel a little uncomfortable, generally it's because you're doing something new.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. So I think it's a good reminder that it is okay to put yourself first. And honestly, it's funny I'm even like stacking this so much because the reality is you're saying once a month. If we can't do something for ourselves once a month, come on. And we even said in the previous episode, we stopped going to dinner because I was the flake. Like I was like, yeah, maybe so, and
I think that we have to have intention. You need to say, I'm going to commit to myself. I am worthy of this. I deserve this, and set the intention and let everybody in your family know this is what I'm doing. They our husbands have things that they do, whether it's golf or tennis or, pickleball or whatever it is, they commit. And if they can commit to something once a month, twice a month, or however many times they go, we should be able to say, absolutely, we deserve this.
Yeah. Put it in that Everblood calendar. Right?
That's right. Put it in your calendar.
Seriously, once it's in the calendar,
you are
I feel
worthy.
like you have to say it's not moving. Like
That's right.
It's in cement,
Well, and what I love about so my group is still going strong. We're 4 years in. And while I have been here, they have been cheerleading me from 2,000 miles away, knowing that they are all part of the inspiration for this program. And we have just been
chills.
We have been celebrating together, and we're celebrating for all the women who are going to have what we have.
Yeah.
And what is so amazing is my phone has been blowing up. There's a lot of planning going on there because we still have our core once a month gathering, but we are seeing each other. That sort of weaving that happens in village life of pre-modern society, we have. So we weave with each other. So it's, hey, there's a great movie playing at the independent movie theater. Who wants to go? Who's free? So maybe 2 of them go off and they go to the movie.
Okay.
There's a great concert, Neil Diamond cover band. Who wants to go? Right? We're in a college town, so there's always stuff. And it's like, oh my gosh, there was a DJ dance party. And so like 4 of them went to the DJ dance party.
I want to go.
Oh my gosh, so much fun. So those are not like our, official, but we always still have an official gathering.
And can you share, because I lost my point earlier, but I think what's so interesting and what we learned last night is that there's a structure to this. Because the other thing to think about is if you get 8 women together, a few who know each other, a few who are perfect strangers, and you're sitting there going, okay, like, What do we, a lot of times naturally and organically conversation will happen.
Right.
But I think what you shared where there is intentionality and structure behind everything that you've developed to really guide that time, and I'm sure that it gets more natural, but for each month, right, you have a structure.
Structure, yeah. I joke, those like books for when you're raising when your kids are young, and it's like how to sneak the broccoli in, like, blender it in with strawberries in their smoothie. I'm like, I think they're going to notice. But that's essentially what I have done is I've taken my clinical background, right? I'm attachment therapist, relationship therapist. I have taken all of that knowledge and I have essentially blended it in so that people don't notice, right? Like you're not going to feel like you're having a therapy experience.
Yeah.
But I've taken all of that knowledge, all of that science and infused it into the program. It feels very organic and natural, but it has all the ingredients to create a solid structure. And so those are the parts. So I do give you a reason to gather. We know that intentionality is critical for successful gatherings to feel the bond, for people to show up.
Yeah.
Right? You have to know why. There's tons of research showing that when people know why they're showing up, they are more likely to show up. That's mindset work, right?
Because we're humans, right? Like, what's in it for me?
Right.
I feel like people,
Sure.
that is just how we operate. So I love that though.
Well, it's clarity too.
Yeah.
We don't do well with ambiguity. And so it's also like, I know why I'm going, right? Especially in the beginning. Now, if eventually you get to the point where your girlfriend calls you and says, hey, come over for coffee. I miss you. I want to see you. And you show up and it's just this organic time, right? But those relationships generally have had a long runway when you get to that point. And so you need the building blocks in the beginning. And so I did. I built in. And Nicole, I want to address something you were talking about a minute ago, because I think you intuitively know this. And I want to give you some language.
Yes.
Which is there are 3 words that are often used in literature about building relationships, any kind of practice, anything that's going to be meaningful or purpose building in your life. It's intention, attention, repetition. And so when you put those 3 things in sequence over and over and over again, you end up with something that is meaningful and purposeful.
So it's intention, attention, repetition.
So I have built that into the program. We know why we're gathering. We're gathering because we all want more connections. That's the broad. Monthly, we're gathering to have a discussion group. And so that is what I provide in the invitation is I create, because I do this in my professional life, I run women's events and gatherings and women's circles. I create those spaces for women in the Boulder community. I wish, that was part of the reason for the invitation too. I was like, I love the experience you had last night, right? So meaningful, so profound. And you were with strangers.
Yes. Yeah.
So those are the events that I host that type of event in Boulder, and I create a discussion topic for the women's circles that I host. And women don't know each other. It's community-based. It's drop-in. I never know who's going to be there, what their age or story is going to be. And we leave those gatherings. I mean, I feel connected.
Yes.
At the end of those gatherings. So I've taken the content from years of running women's circles in Boulder. And I'm a writer. I mean, this is what I love to do. And I create really juicy discussion topics for the invitation. And so there's your intention. We're going to go and we're going to discuss. And what that does is it bypasses the cocktail hour, the surface level chitty chat that we all get stuck in when we're uncomfortable. To Nicole's point, right? It was a little uncomfortable being in that space where you didn't know everyone. But then what happened at the end?
Yeah, we were so connected.
I know.
So connected. Everybody shared their voice.
Yes.
Everybody talked about, I feel like everybody opened up. Even those that you could sense maybe felt timid at the start. And it was in an hour and a half. That's nothing.
I know. Everyone felt safe enough in this place to share. And I think it's especially critical now that you are coming out with this because the world feels so divided.
It is divided.
It is divided.
It is.
We are divided.
Yes.
And that is obviously showing up in friendships too. And it's really sad.
Right.
And I love your topic of conversations. I love getting to know the other women. I love knowing their stories, their backgrounds, what's going on in their life. And we all had something in common.
Yes. And it was
It didn't matter your age.
That's what I was just going to say, because I was in a group. We intentionally were not in the same group, because when we broke out into small groups.
I know. I love that you all did
When I
that.
reflected on this last night, because I was just like on a cloud when I left, those women that I was in a group with, I can safely say, without the experience I had last night, we would not have crossed paths.
Right.
Maybe we would walk past each other in Costco, but we wouldn't stop and have the conversation we had last night. And we all took something so special from one another. I mean, none of us wanted to leave. The event was over. We were staying for another 45 minutes because we all had so much we wanted to share. And like you said, there was so much connection, and it didn't matter. You know, there was so many different demographics, and there was that same connection. And someone in the group even said that I feel so validated and I feel less alone, because I thought it was only me facing this struggle, and we all were actually feeling the same thing.
The same.
So it's amazing. It's very powerful how you can feel that connection with someone who literally was a perfect stranger 90 minutes before that.
Right. But that is, I mean, I get a fluttery heart when we get into this kind of conversation, because that's the essence of this, right? We are all humans, and we are, and I know it gets thrown around in this way that is sort of carelessly, like we're more or less alike than we are different. But didn't you feel that in that room last night?
100%.
I mean, this is the reason I do group work. It is the heartbeat of my group work, is how can we get all the external stuff cleared away so we can find each other's humanness, because that's where we are the same. We are having such similar experiences. We are all humans.
Yes. Yeah.
In the same social landscape, right?
Right.
Yeah. And the other thing that was so interesting, because I love when you can actually ground and sort of name it. I think you were saying name it, right? And one of the things I've always said when it comes to friendships I've experienced in my life is proximity rules. Like, I've always said that. And I kind of like hate that about myself, because I feel like a really bad friend, because I had this still have this incredible group of girlfriends from New Jersey, but I then moved away, and I just found it harder and harder to stay in touch. And thankfully there's a few sparks there that will make sure they're coming to visit and doing all the things. But you touched upon, beyond just proximity, there are a few sort of established things that I think we've all either felt or help explain a little bit of why that can happen. And I know there's so much. We could do a part 3, a part 4, a part 5, but can you share a little bit about those? I think it was
yes. And I'm going to use this just so I don't lose track of my thoughts on this. But yes, proximity. So these I broke down that whole postmodern society, fractured social landscape idea into the ways that social fracturing shows up. Okay. So that's what these 5 things are. And there is a lot more, but I wanted to give something digestible and memorable. So yes, proximity, and the statistics on this is Robin Dunbar's work. And it's his book is like 4 inches tall. It's so thick, and he's done research since the 70s all over the world, which I also really appreciate. So not just in North American societies and cultures, but literally this is repeatable all over the world. So if you live further than 30 minutes or 5 miles from someone, it's not that friendship isn't important to you, but the distance becomes a barrier. Yeah. And that's when I love sharing this with women, because I can go easy on myself. Right. I was in graduate school in Denver, which is about a 45-ish minute drive from Boulder, where I live. And so I was commuting in, and most of the women in the program, who were also 15 and 20 years younger than me, and totally different life stages, which actually that part we were able to circumnavigate. But the distance we couldn't. And in the beginning, before I got my hands on this research, even I, as an attachment therapist, I had my little feelings hurt. I was like, because I'm the spark. And so I kept, while we were in graduate classes together, I was having them all come to my home. So of course, they're all like in their 20s and dating. Right. And I'm like a mom with a big mortgage and backyard patio furniture, So I was the one hosting all the gatherings, and they would trek to Boulder, and they loved coming, and we would do potlucks, and I would organize hikes and yoga classes and then coffee so we could talk and do self-care, because we were all graduate students in this very rigorous program. And it ended, and I was like, oh my gosh, we'll just keep. And it was I mean, I can't say it was naive. You don't know what you don't know.
Sure.
But now that was a hurt for me.
Yeah.
That those relationships, I literally had, what do you think I thought? They don't care about me.
Mm-hmm.
They're more important to me than I am to them. All of the things that every woman has said to herself about some friendship that has faded. And it actually isn't. When I reach out to them, hey, mostly it's professionally, we are wonderful with each other. And we do appreciate one another. And we had a great time in graduate school. And now I hold those relationships more softly in that. That was a great experience with really amazing women. Unfortunately, we live almost an hour apart and we don't see each other anymore.
Yeah.
Like, think about the narrative difference between they don't like me and what I just said.
And thank you for sharing this, because I think we all need that permission to know, like, sorry, there's a little bug.
I thought you were just about to eat it.
I know. While you're talking. But no, I think it gives us, so we're not feeling so like, oh, it's me, I'm the worst. Because we're so hard on ourselves, right? We're our biggest critics.
We are.
And so this is what I found so helpful for me, that this is grounded in research. It's something tangible.
Yes.
That then I don't have to always be the bad guy in my story.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because I am. I always.
Shannon, this is part of the shared humanness, because I'm always the villain in my own storyline. Yes, of course. Of course.
She even just did that with me. She's like, I feel like I'm being the worst. And I'm like, no, not at all. Like, that is not what I think at all. Like, we have these, we do take it, we're so hard on ourselves. Right?
Yes, that's that individual burden showing up time and time again. It's all on me. I have to do it all. I'm responsible for all of it.
I'm actually learning a lot about that with my therapist right now. She's really talking to me a lot about expectation language and the stress that it causes in your body when you use those kind of words. Like, I have to do this. I should be doing this. I should be reaching out. I should have got back to her. It causes a lot of stress in your body. And I feel it now that I'm recognizing when I do it. So yeah. I hear you on that one.
So the next one, if we move on, it's convenience. And so again, when we are in this postmodern society, so many of our connections are based on convenience rather than that crisscrossing where we see each other regularly, right? Because it's easy because nobody moves.
Right.
Your grandparents and their grandparents and you, and now you're raising your kids all in the same place, right? So convenience can hold us together. And of course, again, once that convenience goes away, then that was the thing holding the relationship together. Life stage is a really interesting one that as soon as I heard it, I was like, of course, but I hadn't really considered it, which is that if you meet someone, and my graduate school example is a perfect one. I met this group of women when we were all in graduate school. So that was a life stage for all of us. And it was the glue. And it's not that those people we don't matter to one another. And if we lived closer, we may have been able to maintain regular friendships. But that was the thing holding us together. So if maybe you have experienced like infertility and you joined a support group, or, you're always in the clinic and you're meeting the other woman who's in the waiting room, and you bond because of that shared experience. But then that was really the thing that was holding it together. And it's okay if that fades and the relationship fades too. Again, now we have softer language to talk to ourselves about it.
I thank you for this permission. Like, it's okay. Not every friendship has to be the lifer, right? And I think that's another place where maybe the narrative can shift. So thank you. These are great takeaways.
Diverging growth rates is another one. And this is what happened to the friendship that I was in, that 20-year friendship that ended. And neither of us could have ever predicted. 20 years is a long time. We met when we were pregnant with our first children. I have a 20-year-old. Wow. So do the math. Right? That's a long time ago. I was barely 30, right? So I was a different person, and so was she. Right. And we had a beautiful, meaningful, important, very significant friendship. And it was that way for 10 years. And I want every woman to hear me say that sometimes that can change. And it is heartbreaking. It just is. You can't make it not heartbreaking. And also, it doesn't mean that she's bad or I'm bad. Right? We just grew apart. And like I shared with you all earlier, we were so connected. We had raised each other's children together. The idea of not being friends was so heartbreaking for both of us that we held on way longer than we should have. We had conversations about why is this not working? Like this just isn't working. And we couldn't find each other anymore. And I love sharing this story because people are like, you're a therapist and you had a friendship end? And I'm like, actually, I'm a human.
Yes, I was just going to say.
I'm a woman, right?
Yes.
And yes. And yeah, of course. I mean, I'm no different than anybody else. I mean, I did initiate some of those conversations. I wish I had initiated them much earlier. That I did not do. I was still lacking that permission to go to her and say, hey, something is feeling really off. That's brave work. And we are not socially conditioned to have conflict in our female friendships. And this is one of my soapboxes. This is one of the things that the women who join the invitation get educated on heavily. It's part of one of my missions with this program is to educate women about female friendships, because where are we going to get? Where are we going to learn? Go to the bookstore. How many books are there on raising children? How many books are there on romantic love? How many books are there on healing trauma? Where are the books on how the heck to show up as a female in friendship?
Right.
There just are not enough because, and I have a theory on this, and this is not scientific. This is a Heather Carlson theory.
I love this.
Well, this is going to be good. I can feel it.
I have a theory. So since these are all moms listening, so you know when you have your baby and then everyone's like, are you going to nurse? Nursing. Everyone's talking about nursing. It's this beautiful biological thing that happens. It's intrinsic and your baby knows and you know, and then, oh my God, this is not working. This is a catastrophe. I don't know how to nurse. The baby doesn't know how to nurse. I'm a failure.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me? How come this is not working? Shame. I mean, such all these emotions. Again, who's the villain in the storyline, right? It's us because we don't know how to nurse our baby. I feel like it is the same thing around female friendship. There is this sort of, you just show up and you know how to do it. And I'm going, no, we don't. We need to learn how to do this.
Just like we have to learn everything else. You're so right.
Yes.
You're so right.
Yeah. And I think after meeting with you last night, Shannon and I came in this morning so excited. And I was like, if I ever do anything to upset you, if I ever say anything to upset you, will you please always know that you can come to me? And like when I said this, I want to make sure you didn't take it this way, because it is really important to me, because I don't do that. I kind of just, I don't have a problem with conflict in many other situations, but with female friendships, sometimes that's really hard.
So Nicole, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Do it.
What's the fear? What happens if you go to your friend and you say, that didn't feel good yesterday? Can we talk about it?
The fear is that I'm not going to like the answer, or that the relationship will be different.
Yeah. Fear. Yes. It is fear of loss.
Right.
Let's talk about what kept me from being more forthcoming earlier in my 20-year relationship that ended. That was it. We won't be able to sustain this conversation. This will break us up.
Right.
Well, it was headed to break up.
Right.
I mean, the thing that broke it up was we didn't talk about it early enough.
Talk about the breakup.
Right.
Neither of us felt had the modeling, had the permission. I mean, neither of our mothers had ever shown us how to do this. Nobody ever talked to us about this. We grew up in the 80s. This was not happening in our childhoods.
Yeah.
And it's not happening in popular culture either. We are not learning how to go to our friends and trust that if the friendship is really a meaningful one that you both are interested in maintaining, you will get through the hump. You'll get over the hump.
And sometimes maybe that thing that keeps happening over and over when they do know that it hurts your feelings, because you have said that at least.
Right.
And it just continues to happen. But because the friendship has been going for so long, you feel like I'm a failure if this friendship doesn't stay, because you're supposed to have these 30 plus years of friendship, because that validates you. You're this great person and this great friend because you've had this friend for 45 years. You know, and my mom didn't model that because my mom was a drug addict. So relationships for me, there was no model of anything.
Right.
And in my mind, it was like, I'm just going to do the opposite of everything my mom does. right? And I'm going to have these friendships no matter what. And I've been learning a lot. I can tell you that. Like, I'm learning. I love my 40s for that reason.
Yes.
I'm learning so much about that.
And I cannot quote this exactly, but there is a statistic that I find fascinating, something roughly that around every 7 years, about half of our social landscape looks different.
Interesting.
We are cruising through friendships, but of course we are.
Of course. Yes. Makes so much sense.
But you hear the number and you're like, oh, because even when I've been in Boulder for 10 years, and when I think about 7 years ago, I had been there for 3 years. Many, many, many of the women I was hanging out with then, I'm no longer in touch with.
Right.
And again, nothing bad happened. No, nothing bad happened, but that was the stage. I mean, we all had young children. They were all in elementary school. They went off to different middle schools. And then what are we learning? What was the context that was holding those friendships together? It was the elementary school. It was the proximity and being on the playground to pick your kids up at the same time. And so those served their purpose.
Right.
I had a great beginning to my time in Boulder. Those were fabulous women. There is not a thing wrong with any of us.
Right.
It was just a different season.
Yeah.
So you continue to hear that soft language, right?
Yeah.
Like the explaining and the understanding of it and making sense of it, that there's no bad guy.
Did you hear that? There's no bad guy.
This is amazing. And the reality is, I'm not kidding. We could sit here for hours talking about this. And because I have so many of these moments where my head's just nodding. And I think, unfortunately, I'm the person who goes, right, but I can't help it because this is it's so helpful. And that's what we're trying to do. Like we've said many times about having that permission to feel a certain way and act a certain way. And you're helping so much with that. So I know there's one more, right? There are 5.
Yes.
And then what I want to do is let's kind of just share, some of the sort of key takeaways. I want to make sure we talk about the invitation, and then we're going to end with a really fun segment.
Okay.
So let's hear this last one.
Yes, really investment imbalance. That one.
That's the one.
we could have a whole hour on that topic. Yes. So as the title indicates, this is about the investment being different from the two different partners of a friendship. And it's a very tricky one, and it is very common.
Yeah.
And just like in romantic love, we are often drawn to people who offer us things that we don't bring to the relationship. So there's a yin and yang kind of thing happening, right? And so that happens in friendship too. We tolerate a lot of differences in our romantic love. And those differences become harder in platonic love and platonic friendships. And so, when the investment level is different, and Nicole, I think you already spoke to this really beautifully, that you had burnout.
Yeah.
And burnout, you're saying, I have stopped. Yes. That's burnout talking.
Yes, I have.
Like, it is painful for me to continue. My well is dry. Like the inertia. Yeah. There's no source for the inertia. And you also are just tired of carrying the rope.
Yeah.
Right. So that's that is a very classic reason that friendships fade and that friendship is fragile. In marriage, we have this thing, right? So there's fragility in romantic love as well. All love is risky inherently. So it's all risky. But with marriage, we sign this piece of paper and you buy this house together and get this dog together and have goldfish, we do the things. Yeah. Then we have kids, right? And so all of a sudden you find ways. You may find ways that are not functional. You might find ways that are functional, but you find ways to continue. But in friendship, we don't have that. It's not a requirement of the relationship. There is not this legal sort of spiritual, emotional, there's a difference. And so friendships are fragile for those reasons. And this imbalance in investment is one of the ones I think that gets a lot of us.
But I think what you did beautifully is you created a way for someone who is a spark, which I'd love for you to let everyone know what that is. And when you said this last night, I was like, I could do that. I'm a spark. I could do that. And it didn't feel like I was going to be burning out. Like it felt doable.
Right. And so as an attachment therapist, so I work with people who have the withdrawing tendencies and are not the sparks. They're the ones that are generally invited, not inviting.
Mm-hmm.
So I work with those humans. And then I also work with spark humans, which are the ones who go toward problems instead of pulling away from them when they occur, and also are less rejection sensitive. And so they are the inviters. So I have space in my heart for all of them. However, I am a spark. I am an inviter. And I was burned out. That's what happened after the pandemic. I was burned out. And so I had that spirit in me. And I thought women need something where we're going to harness the natural comfort with inviting that the sparks carry. They can do it more comfortably, right? But those little tender spark hearts need a village. They need there to be mutuality. They need everyone carrying the rope. And it doesn't mean that, it's like sometimes Shannon carries the rope 50-50. Like you guys are 50-50, right? Sometimes Nicole's got 30, you got 70. Sometimes you got 80 and you got 20.
It's so true.
Absolutely.
That's mutuality, which is very different than reciprocity, which in my mind there can be like a scorekeeping element to reciprocity. I called you last. I invited you to coffee last. It's your turn to invite me. And that's where we know we're kind of on the crispy edges of burnout. Because
crispy edges.
We're on the edges. When we start scorekeeping.
That I love.
Yeah.
Crispy edges. Oh.
Yeah. So the spark, I want to harness for the program and to get women in community. I'm like, how do we overcome this? It's all about overcoming obstacles. Is we're going to harness the power, the natural comfort of the sparks inviting. So they generally are the ones who say, "Ooh, this cool program." And then they get interested and then they invite their people. But then what I have created afterwards is that it is carried in that pre-modern society village kind of way where then everyone participates and everyone carries it.
So I have one question.
This feels like $1 million one.
So it's the thought of joining a group with 9 other women and the dynamic. Can you share? Because that can be kind of daunting, right? Like you have these couple friends that you get along really well with, but then you're going to, sit with these women that you don't know, which I think is beautiful. But the dynamic of the group, like how has that been for you? And how special, like having all those women and like creating that village, like last night, it just sounded like that was your little village.
I mean, it is. Right. And I have friends. I also always emphasize, they're not my only friends. Yes. But they are my safety net.
Yeah.
And I can emotionally feel that safety net under me. And that is amazing. And of course, I have other friendships that are key friendships that are important to me that I've made in the last 4 years.
Right.
Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. Right? Yeah. New friends, new women. So, and they're not in the group, which is a funny thing because they're like, is your group open? Oh. And I've had to say, I'm like, you know what? We keep it at 8.
Yeah.
We are not getting, if it gets bigger, we lose our intimacy and it loses some of its potency. And so we're keeping it there. But you are my person too. And we continue to make time for each other.
Yeah.
So that's my response when people who want to be in who are on the outside. I mean, I met them after I formed it, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
So the dynamic, I think this is $1 million question because I have no idea for each group and I can't, and I don't make those promises. Yeah, I don't make those promises. I can't.
Yeah.
And I'm very ethical, right? I'm a clinician.
Yes.
Ethics is at the core of the integrity of our work. So I can't commit. I don't know what's going to happen for people, but I do have one thing that I do commit to. I have no idea what will happen in each person's group. There may be 3 women who say, we did it for a year, but we're choosing that we don't want to renew. We don't want to do this again. Okay. Right. Okay. You talk it through. It may be hard. It may not be hard.
Right.
I don't know what will happen for people, but here's what I do know. And I say this and I get like butterflies in my stomach because this is true. Every woman who says yes will experience change over the course of the year. And it will be a big deal.
Yes, it will.
I love that.
Yeah. That change will be impactful.
And I think what's so amazing about what you just said is every woman who says yes will have this. Because in the invitation, when you are invited, I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, but there could be women who say, no. And that's okay too, right? And in that instance, because you're saying like, listen, this is a year-long commitment. but once a month, really, come on. But this is a year-long commitment, so I'm sure there are people who sort of opt out. But for those that say yes, because they're ready for the change, for the healing, for the whatever it might be. And I think that's really powerful because you're in control.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Saying I'm ready. And you're right about saying in our 40s is when I feel like this conversation, me 10 years ago, I probably would have been like, come on. Like, I'm.
Well, Charleston listeners, you're going to want to hear this. Bloom is a one-day conference on March 14th for women who just need space to breathe, to step away from the noise of everyday life and be reminded of who they are in Jesus. So many of us spend our days pouring into everyone else, and Bloom is simply a day where you get to be poured into. Through worship, encouraging teaching, and time spent in community, their hope is that you leave feeling refreshed, restored, and deeply reminded that you are seen and loved by God. You don't have to have everything together to come. Just come as you are. If that sounds like something that your heart needs, you can grab your ticket over at bloomconferencellc.com. Remember, that's on March 14th, and you can get your ticket on bloomconferencellc.com.
Oh, so much.
Yes.
But we like to do a little rapid fire with our guests because it's fun, right? It's fun to sort of just, so the idea is the rules, if you will, are just, I'm going to throw out a question. First thing that comes to mind, share it, and we'll just go through it. You ready?
I'm ready. Okay.
I'm starting with like a big one.
Okay. Great.
One word that describes true friendship.
That's the hardest one, Shannon. One word.
Come back.
One word. We'll end on that. How about that? Coffee date or long walk?
Okay, wait. Let's go back. I got it.
Okay.
Understanding.
Oh. Okay.
Understood. Being understood. And understanding.
I love that.
Okay.
I love that.
That's great.
Coffee date or long walk?
Well, because I live in Boulder, Colorado, I have to say a long walk because I get to walk in the mountains when I do that.
Yeah.
Biggest misconception about adult friendship?
That it's easy.
Oh.
And that it's natural. And that you don't have to work.
Yeah. It's a good one.
And try new things and build new muscles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh. Texting all day or voice memo check-ins?
I mean, totally voice memo. It's so much more personal. You get to hear the inflection in the voice. I mean, like all the things.
I love
Yes.
I don't even know how to send one.
Could
you help me?
I've never done a voice memo.
What? Okay, if you're
I
getting
don't even know
technical
how.
advice from me, then we have a problem in the room because, like, my teenagers
We're
are the ones who
dinosaurs.
usually teach me how to use my iPhone.
Oh,
Okay.
that's hilarious. Hosting at home or meeting out?
I mean, at home, always.
Okay.
I feel like I could have answered that one for you.
Yes.
What makes someone instantly feel safe to you?
Openness.
What season of friendship are you in right now?
I am in deep roots, strong tree trunk, and flowering at the top.
Wow. That's so beautiful. You speak so beautifully.
I want that.
Poetic in the way that you speak. Something women overthink when it comes to connection.
Making it too big. Do a 10-minute phone call. Do a 10-minute phone call. And don't start it with, I'm so busy. Don't do that.
Sorry. I do it all the time.
Just take it out of your whole vocabulary. Everyone is busy and we don't need to wear that badge. Hey, I had a few minutes and I just was dying to check in with you. Tell me how your son is. Whatever the thing is. And I can't wait to catch up with you more later.
Great advice.
Such good advice. And maybe we can do that as a voice memo. Who knows?
Yes. We'll connect after the show.
So much.
I can't wait for that tutorial.
The bravest thing a woman can do socially.
Is ask someone for their number. Yeah. The old-fashioned way, right?
We did
Can
that
I
last
call
night.
you?
We did it last night.
Yes.
Yes.
Can I call you? Like, not Instagram, not. That is distanced. If this is someone that you really are interested in, get their phone number, their actual phone number.
I love that. And we were all like, how do you add a contact? Oh my gosh, what's happening? So what does belonging feel like in one sentence?
It feels like you can be the truest version of yourself, whomever you are with. So it doesn't matter how different the person in front of you is. You show up in your essence as your most authentic self.
Wow.
And when that happens and they accept you, then you have belonging.
I mean, yeah.
That's what you do for me.
Oh, and I mean, it's not reciprocated. What's the word? Not reciprocity.
Mutuality.
It's mutuality. There. Look at us using words.
We really went big on these for you because we knew you could handle them. I realized, I'm like, oh, they're real simple. Coffee or walk. Meanwhile, I went real deep. So we'll end on I guess maybe a more simple one, but a book every woman should read about connection.
Yes. I love Anna Goldfarb's book, and I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget the title, How to Nurture Modern Friendship.
Oh,
okay. And Anna Goldfarb is the New York Times, or was the New York Times correspondent for relationships and friendship. Oh. So she has written it's funny. I mean, the woman should actually be a stand-up comedian.
I love that.
So it's funny. It's also, the data is solid. And I really appreciate she has activities for you to go through and, question yourself, challenge yourself on how you show up as a friend. We focus so much on what the other person is doing. True. How about we focus more on how we can strengthen how we are as a friend? Mm-hmm. Then we're more likely to attract the kind of people we want in our lives anyway. So her book is a great one.
I'm going to read it.
Me too. Thank you so much for being here and joining us here on MomCom. I think, I hope everybody is took some notes or is taking something away that you're going to act on starting now, because none of this is, it's all stuff that we can do. And that's what I love is that it's actually things that they don't feel so overwhelming that I'm like, I don't know, how am I going to start doing that? But these are things we can start practicing.
Right. Well, you both got a note card from me last night.
Mm-hmm. We did.
So you have to talk about that, right?
Yes.
It's my...
Go.
Okay. So, we're so obnoxious. You go. I've been talking so much. So at the end of our community event that we attended, which again was an hour and a half, but we stayed much longer, Heather shared with us a little goodie bag. Mm-hmm. Actually,
that's right.
And the best part is that what was in it...
Oh, wait, yeah.
Is a piece of stationery that already has the stamp on it. Because you brought up such a good point that you can connect with people, write something that takes 5 minutes, write them a note, put it in the mail. We all love receiving mail. But what you said really hit home, because what's the stopper to this is the stamp. And I told you last night, I found my mom gave me a bin. Tim's very happy about this. There's a huge bin of all my childhood stuff. He's like, where are we supposed to put this?
I just put it in the garbage.
But I started going through it, and I found a Ziploc bag of about 25 postcards that I wrote out when I was 17 years old to family, friends, because I went to Italy for a trip, and I wrote them all out, and I never mailed them because I didn't have the stamp.
Yep. The stamp is the barrier. My whole career is about how do we break down barriers and get people where they want to go. And I was like, what is the fastest way you can have connection? I'm like, send a note.
I love
And it actually is fast. It takes 5 minutes. A phone call could actually be a longer commitment than sending someone a note. So I actually have sent notes to girlfriends who live in my town if they're going through something hard, or I just haven't seen them in a month. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to send them. It takes literally 5 minutes. And I always have stamps.
And it feels so special receiving it.
Right.
Yes. Right? Like it's not a piece of, mail that you have to pay this or come to this or, come to this jury
summons.
Yeah. Like it's definitely better than a jury summons.
It is. But it's so special.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because there's a huge takeaway. Mm-hmm. Everybody go write a note to somebody and put it in the mail and see, because that makes them feel good, but also makes you feel good to know, you know what, they're not going to expect this coming, and I just want to share whatever it might be that comes to mind. I love that. So everybody go back.
Postcard stamps are a different price than the forever stamps, FYI. I know, no one knows it. This is what happens when you have a writer in your life.
Thank you guys so much. This has been so special. I've learned so much, and I know so check out the invitation. Yes, we will.
If I make